где девался. Hello everyone, welcome to our batch-free pre-arrival webinar. My name is Victor, I'm here with my colleague Sebastian.
Hi there, this is Sebastian.
Okay, sorry for that, that was our box. Our speaker was still on. Okay, so let's jump right into the topic. Maybe we'll go on the next slide. Okay. Hope you can hear us now. Okay, so yeah, let's start. What's on our agenda for today? I will start by briefly explaining what the weXelerate philosophy is. I will also briefly touch upon the ecosystem of weXelerate, the members and its stakeholders, and then Sebastian will take over.
That's right. I will quickly explain the content of the Accelerator program to you, and especially the format of the so-called block weeks, where we have 4 attendance mandatory weeks throughout the course of the program. And I will also go through a quick checklist with you towards the end so that we make sure you bring everything along when you come to Vienna on October 1st.
Yes, and also for all of you, we will record this session, of course, and we will also send you the slides of the webinar. So even if you're not able to be in this webinar with your entire team, it's perfectly fine. You can later on give the recording to your colleagues, and you can also listen to that later on. Okay. So what's the weXelerate philosophy? The weXelerate philosophy is something that, in a nutshell, comprises everything that we strive to do and how we set up ourselves as an ecosystem. So what does that mean? First of all, it's a philosophy that means that the startup is in the center of attention. Everything is directed towards the startup, and everybody in the ecosystem should have the startups in mind. So yes, startups are the main part of our ecosystem, and it's why everybody's here, because startups are the drivers of innovation in this hub. That also means that all of the collaboration not only goes through mutual benefit and trust, but also that all service partners, all investors, and all mentors and weXelerate team members try to adapt to your needs and try to be individual with your startup. Last but not least, 2 points. So the whole network is built on a relationship of professionalism. That means that we all strive to be professional at weXelerate, that also our service partners and mentors try to be professional in their relationship with you, but also in return, this means, of course, that they to some extent also expect a certain level of professionalism from your side. And the last point, paid forward attitude. That means that if you come to weXelerate, of course, everybody that's joining this ecosystem usually has a certain attitude of, okay, I'm spending my time here, I'm giving something away, and maybe I'm sharing certain tasks that I'm doing for others, and of course I expect that they are paid back, and that everything depends on this mutual collaboration. Okay, maybe jumping over to our map. What you can see on this slide is that the majority of our startups do not come from Austria. Of course, we have 10 startups coming from Austria, but overall we welcome 40 startups in our third batch. As you can see, we do have startups also from Germany, from the UK, from Spain, but we're really happy that we also have startups from countries that we haven't had before, including countries such as Norway, Portugal, India, of course, and also Croatia. So yes, it's a very international set of startups that you can also see on the next slide. Maybe you can also identify your own flag, but yeah, just this slide tells you that we have 17 countries represented by our startups in this batch. Also, maybe you also find yourself on this slide. This is the overview of all the participants in the upcoming batch. So we collected your logos, of course, in the survey that we sent out a few weeks ago, but I might come back to you within the next few days, because we would also like to put your logo physically into our building as a printed version, and therefore I might reach out to you if I don't have your logo in the right format. So yes, we will also try to put your logo within our premises so that you can show your logo also proudly to the corporate partners and to everybody else that is visiting you at weXelerate. Okay, what are the 3 pillars of weXelerate? And I think you already are quite familiar with the concept maybe, but in a nutshell, weXelerate consists of 3 main pillars. First of all, of course, we do have our office space and the workspace. We are located in the heart of Vienna in a 9,000 square meter room, or basically setup. That is also very attractive, of course, for startups to work at, but also for other tenants that we have in the building. The event location itself is also rented out to corporates that would like to do some certain formats here. So basically almost every day we have an event taking place at our offices. And last but not least, of course, it's the multi-corporate accelerator. This is what you're here for. And this is also part of the bigger corporate innovation program where we engage with our corporate partners to drive innovation within the companies. On the next slide, again, the ecosystem. I'm going to explain that also in a minute, but just to briefly touch upon that, we, of course, have weXelerate as the team. So we are at the moment about 20 employees at weXelerate, but also, of course, we have a network of service partners, roughly 60 service partners in our network that can be law companies, that can be digital media companies, finance companies, so a broad set of companies in the service partner network. Also, our investors, in the last few months, we've been able to establish an international set of investors that also join us for our investors days, but also actively try to see collaboration with our startups and maybe even attend and participate in a financing round. Of course, we also have a list of mentors. At the moment, about 100 mentors that are usually either C-level representatives of our corporate partners or innovation experts at the corporates, but maybe also individuals that dedicate their time to help you as a startup, and also especially for international startups, very interesting because they can be valuable door openers for you. They can give you the contacts that you might need, and therefore it's highly advisable to talk to them and to engage with your mentors that will be assigned to you. Okay, this slide shows the logos of our corporate partners. And I think some of the logos are already familiar to you, especially when you're from Austria. But even if you're not from Austria, you should have at least have had one call with one of the one of the corporate partners on the slide here. And what you can see is, of course, different industries are represented within our corporate partners. We do have industry companies, we have banking companies, media companies, telecommunication companies. So as you can see, a broad range of industries are represented in our corporate partner set. Regarding the tenants, as I mentioned before, our premises are not only open for startups and weXelerate itself, but also a lot of other companies that are renting out their office space in our building. And of course, it also makes sense to maybe highlight some of the tenants in the building. So for example, we do have major Austrian investors on site. So in the same building, we have Speed Invest, i5 Invest, so some of Austria's largest VC companies. But also on the other hand, we have the Austrian Angel Initiative. We have growth hacking companies like Hackaboo. Also corporates have their own offices in our ecosystem, such as Unica or Palfinger. And last but not least, of course, I would also like to mention Der Brutkasten, which is one of Austria's largest innovation magazines, an online magazine. And of course, this is a very, it's a relationship with the broadcaster that is also mutually beneficial, because the broadcaster is always looking for interesting content when it comes to startups. And of course, for you as startups, it makes highly sense to talk to the broadcaster, to share your story, and to be exposed to maybe the Austrian online startup community. Last but not least, I would also talk about the investors and the VCs on site. Some of the logos are, again, familiar to you, I guess, especially Speed Invest and i5 Invest, but also other companies that are very active in their investment activities, such as Rus Media, a company present in the media sector, as the name tells itself, but also very actively investing in the last year. Clever Clover with a retail focus, and in total, if you would add on, or if you would take together the whole investment power that they have, it's roughly 500 million euros. That is their whole investment power, and this sits on site. Our service partners, I already mentioned that before, come from a very broad range of industries, also smaller service partners, bigger service partners, maybe just to mention companies like Schönherr, a very famous Austrian law company, also KPMG, of course, familiar to everybody of you, but also smaller companies like Hackaboo, Exilium, and they are experts on certain topics, and they actually help us not only develop our corporates, so when we have workshops for our corporates to make them more innovative, but also for you as startups, they are here to give workshops, to give trainings to you, and also to mention the office hours they will have. So if you want, for most of them, you can have a free office hour where you can consult on your issue that you're having, and then they would follow up with some advice, and you could even book them in the future. Okay, I think this is the time where we would talk about our initial schedule, and this is the point where I would like to hand over to Sebastian.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victor, for walking us through the weXelerate ecosystem and the weXelerate philosophy so far. So, hi guys, this is Sebastian talking here now, and I'm going to walk you through the pillars of the program of weXelerate. So first of all, let me show you the very first week, the so-called onboarding week of the weXelerate batch number 3. No worries. This is not something we're going to go through in detail here. As a matter of fact, you will be receiving a short and concise, really nice and informative booklet that we're currently designing. You will receive that in the next couple of days, where you have detailed and very granular information about the content of the program, the block weeks, the different formats, the corporate startup collaboration, and also the social life in the city of Vienna. So still, let me just go through the very first week, the first block week, the so-called onboarding week here together with you. So first of all, we're going to welcome you all here on Monday, October the 1st. We're going to have check-in sessions during the later morning hours and over lunchtime, where we do all the administrative stuff. We will welcome you. We will show you your offices and your workspace. We will do some paperwork, of course, but we'll also have some fun orientation and get to know each other. And also on the first day, very important, you as startups will get introduced to your program manager. Yes, every startup gets assigned one of us as a dedicated single point of contact, as a key account manager, if you will, that you can come to at any time through any channel if you need anything with regards to the weXelerate program or the ecosystem, or anything with regards to business development or certain other topics. So you will meet your program manager during the afternoon on Monday the 1st. And in the evening, we're going to have a very nice social gathering. We're going to have a batch 2 alumni startup speaking as a special keynote speaker, talking about their experiences in the previous batch, informing you how to make the most out of your participation with weXelerate, and how to be really, really successful here in the Startup and Innovation Hub weXelerate as a startup. Tuesday is a day that is packed with workshops and with some informative sessions on how to collaborate both with your fellow startups and especially with an important preparation session on the cooperation methods when it comes to big corporations, to your partner corporates. We're going to have some fun group building event and team building event again on Tuesday. Our first training and a format called Demo and Dine in the evening on Tuesday, which is the format where you will show your products, your demos, your showcases basically to each other so that you really get to know your fellow partners, your startup partners in the batch number 3 as well. Wednesday we have a fantastic training on B2B sales development by Avi Lifshitz. This was the highest ranked training in the last batch in the spring. All the startups that participated in that training session absolutely loved it and really took something away for their sales strategies from the seminar. And this is exactly what Victor was talking about before. These trainings are not done by the weXelerate team itself. They're conducted by specialists from companies that do work on these specific topics every single day. So, for example, law firms or growth hacking agencies, PR agencies, or whatever the topic of the training is about. So we really have a lot of specialists and experts here that conduct these training sessions and workshops for you. The rest of Wednesday is pretty free. We always schedule in free time for you to conduct your day-to-day business operations. This is very, very important to us. We don't want to overload you with too many little tasks. So even though the week already seems very packed, not all events are mandatory for you, and not all events are or will take that long as is indicated on this calendar. Wednesday evening, a fundraising event, an information event by our partners from the Business Angel Network Prime Crowd that will be happening in the building. They will advertise their masterclass fundraising. So this is something interested for all the early stage startups amongst you that are preparing to raise a round. Thursday, the 4th of October is very, very important. This is a real whole day that's packed with an open house session where the tenants in the building will open their doors and introduce you to their business. And we're going to have a lot of people and media and so on in the house. And from noon on, you will have your big show moment. You will be the stars of our startup fair. You will be exhibiting your products and services and showcasing your startup on our ground floor level. So make sure to bring your roll-ups, make sure to bring your demos, your business cards, your marketing material. And our suggestion for the onboarding week per se is to come with at least 2 to 3 people to really have enough manpower on site to make the most out of the week. Also, Thursday evening, we have an inner city tour where we get to know the nightlife of Vienna and make you bond even more. Friday the 5th is also a very, very important day. We have special preparation sessions for you where we intensely prepare you for the work with your specific corporate partner. So all the startups that are matched with Palfinger, for example, will sit together in one special workshop session where they get a lot of business intelligence on the company and really, really get prepared on a very detailed level for the first corporate touchpoint day where you meet. Saturday is also a lovely social event planned, so definitely make room for that. And without further ado, I'm going into the second half of the block week, of the onboarding week. Yes, it's technically not a week, it's 10 days. This is because we wanted to give you a lot of preparation time for meeting the corporate partners firsthand. And this will be happening as it is scheduled now on Monday, October 8th. You will receive more information about the exact time when you meet your respective corporate partner during the onboarding week and during the next couple of one or 2 weeks when we finalize the meeting schedule, the meeting routine. Second week, also very important training, media and PR training with, first of all, our friends from Der Brotkasten, the magazine. So we have the journalistic side in there, and also Thomas Reiter, who is a PR specialist and does PR especially for startups and scale-ups and has a great network here. This was also one of the highest ranked trainings in the last batch. So if you're looking for media exposure or want to learn how to professionally do that and place your startup and brand your startup, this is the event to go to. Also, we're finishing off the first block week with external events. There is the fundraising congress happening in Vienna and the Digital Days 2018 as well. You will receive a bit more information about that later on. So we thought this is a nice end of the first week to really round up your welcome to Vienna. So before I tell you about the second block week that's happening in November, let me tell you what happens in between the block weeks. So first of all, we have made the experience that the startups who are engaged in the ecosystem the most and are residing in the building here on site as much as possible and engage especially with us, with their program managers as much as possible, take away the most from participating in the batch. This is because we are really an ecosystem. We're like a big beehive, a big spider web where a lot of things are happening, and where especially we at the weXelerate team know a lot about what's going on and what potential business or investment opportunities are opening up for you as startups. So in between the weeks, it is advised to be at weXelerate as much as possible and to communicate with us as much as possible in one-on-one meetings. It's perfectly advised to book, for example, the office hours with our specialists that are in-house from our service partners, to talk to your mentors that you will be assigned in the very beginning of the program, and to also of course make meetings with your corporate partners that you will do on your own. That is not something that is administered or moderated per se. So there's really a lot of free room to explore and to maybe test your market entry into the DACH region and so on and so forth. And the important and structured program takes place in the 4 block weeks, which is also why in those weeks attendance is generally mandatory. So that was about it. Block week number 2, quick overview. We have several training sessions here. You can see them in green. We offer pitch training that you are welcome to attend if you're preparing for a big fair where you're going to pitch on stage, or if you are fundraising and you're traveling to investment fairs or trade shows or something like that, and we'd be happy to help you and prepare you. And of course, in the evenings, as you can see, we try to involve as much social activities and as many social activities and as much get-together gatherings as only possible. All the white blank space in the block weeks, by the way, those are dates or those are time slots where you are advised to book meetings either with your corporate partner or to explore market opportunities here, maybe together with us, as much as you see fit, as you see appropriate. And so this is basically free time where you can conduct your business, and we'd be happy to support you with anything that you need, especially, of course, if you are from abroad. The third block week is happening in December. There are also some trainings happening here. There is the usual pitch training happening as well. There's some nice Viennese winter social events happening, and some structured corporate startup collaboration is also, there's also reserved time for this in this very week. Going to the very last week of weXelerate, which is happening from January the 14th on. This is a week that is focusing on the end of the program. At the penultimate day of batch 3, we have our regular Investors Day. This is a event where you are going to pitch in front of roughly 100 to 150 investors. Can be business angels, can be family offices, can be strategic investors, can be venture capital funds, during about a half-day event, and is followed by well, ad hoc meetings in the afternoon with investors. And this is something that we, of course, prepare you for in this week with the so-called Pitch Academy, as you can see, and also in the week before this week. And of course, we also are happy to provide assistance and pitch training in any one-on-one session that you can, of course, book with us as well. Friday, the 18th of January 2019 is the final evening event and the goodbye session for all batch 3 startups. And this is the official end of the third batch of weXelerate. So that was it for the rough content of the batch 3 of weXelerate. Don't worry, I want to stress again that you will shortly receive a booklet, small brochure with a lot of information in detail on these different events. So if you don't know what format a progress challenge or a pitch training or a technology breakfast actually is, don't worry, you will be able to read up on that very shortly when we send out our booklet to you. Also, you will receive more information about the companies and the trainers that are conducting the trainings and the workshops for you, as well as information about startup corporate collaboration. And there is also a big section about Viennese nightlife and all the free time and leisure stuff that you can do here as well. Which brings me to the very last point now. We have arrived at our checklist. One very important point is, at weXelerate, we usually communicate with you via our Slack channel. We have a dedicated batch 3 Slack channel, and you have received the invitation link to that Slack channel via the email and the earlier this summer, where we congratulated you for being selected as a batch 3 startup. If you can't find it anymore, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, feel free to send us an email. That's perfectly fine. It happens all the time. But make sure that you absolutely have your notifications turned on, because we share a lot of information on our Slack channel, on our everyday business, and you might miss a really, really good business opportunity if you're not constantly checking the Slack channels. Also, we have sent you a link to a Microsoft form where we would ask you to submit all the names and the email addresses of any team member that will at any time be part of the program here on site, because we have a self-developed web portal as a kind of a blackboard. See it as a mix between Facebook meets Meetup meets Outlook or something like that, where we have a schedule of the program on it. We have kind of a drive on it where you can find the presentations of trainings and all that sort of stuff, where we post news and all that. And we're basically on this portal, on this web portal, the weXelerate portal, the whole hub is communicating with each other. And this is why we onboard you in one big batch. We will do that early next week, so please make sure that you have submitted the names of the team members you would wish to onboard there in a timely manner. Also, with the invitation email, you've received a big package for discount codes for flights with Austrian Airlines and some hotels, hostels, or apartment buildings in the area. Check that out. Book your stay. You know the mandatory presence times in Vienna, so make sure to adhere to these dates. Also, be absolutely prepared to bring a demo, a prototype, a mock-up, or something alike of your product. Bring marketing material, bring your roll-ups, bring business cards, lots and lots of business cards. Austrian corporates just freaking love business cards and a lot of paper products. You know, these stuff from the 20th century that you shouldn't use anymore, but still do anyway. So this is important for the startup fair and for really making the best out of your attendance here. Also important, have you emailed us for a fixed desk for your team in our co-working space? And have you told us how many work spots for your team members you will actually need? Well, if not, you should do that ASAP, because next week we'll start space planning and we'll make a floor plan. And every startup that wants to reside here with their team full time, that means every day, will receive a dedicated working area with lockers and with dedicated reserved seating for each one of you. So without further ado, this was the Batch 3 pre-arrival webinar for you guys. And I'd say we're open for questions on IZON and YouTube now. If you have any questions, we'll hang around a couple more minutes here, and we'd be happy to answer them to you, of course.
Yeah, maybe also adding on to that. So for the people that joined later on in the session, I would like to point out again that this will be recorded. So the whole session has been recorded already, and we will send you a link with the recording as soon as we have it as a file. You can download the recording later on, and you can also listen to it later on if you want to. Also, yes, again, please feel free to raise any questions at the moment. If you don't have any questions right away, we're always happy to answer them via our personal email addresses or via accelerator@weXelerate.com. And now stage is yours. We'll be waiting for some questions if there aren't any questions. Looking forward to seeing you soon, and we will also send you an email with our follow-up instructions in the next few days, maybe even tomorrow.
Absolutely, yeah. And first of all, I want to apologize to David Monks from Innovar. Apparently, we kind of missed the logo of Innovar on the logo graveyard earlier in the presentation. That was not on purpose. Sorry, maybe you overlooked it, but it could totally be with 40 startups that we missed it out. So no disrespect there, bro. It was just a mistake. Sorry for that. Okay. How important is it to understand German? Is asked by David Monks from Innovar. Victor, what's your opinion? How important is it to understand German?
I think it's of course it's nice to understand German, but it's not at all a prerequisite of being part of the program, because our corporate partners already got used to startups from a variety of countries. They know how to deal with international startups, and everybody in the innovation team of the corporate partners is able to speak English. Also, we at weXelerate, we are quite an international team. A lot of nationalities presented or represented here, and I think it's not a problem at all. Of course, it's nice because you can speak to them in German, but everybody is able to understand you if you speak English.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, thanks a lot to Drazen, who says, thanks a lot, very informative webinar. Yeah, thank you also for your compliment. Yeah, we took a lot of effort to bring you the information as concise and, well, valuable as possible. So greatly appreciated that. Thanks. Okay, Boris Welchli asks, is there any sessions to support marketing or web presence planned? If you're talking about trainings, at the moment there is no such training planned, because maybe a bit of background story. We organize the trainings according to the demand by the startups. And this data was derived from the Typeform survey that you filled out when you got the invitation to join Batch 3. And there you were also asked in which fields and which areas of expertise you would like to have to receive training or tutoring. And this was not very high on the list. So that is why we didn't organize a specific marketing or digital marketing kind of training or workshop for you. However, as Victor pointed out earlier, we have a lot of service partners with a lot of specialists in-house, or if not in-house, they are part of our ecosystem and our network that you can also through our web portal book office hours with, and you can meet with them, and they will give you at least at first free advice and some guidance and some tutoring on these topics. And we have some digital marketing agencies and some growth hacking agencies in our service partner network that can help you in basically in one-on-one sessions on these topics. Hope that answers your question.
Could also be the case that your assigned mentor is either a specialist in this area, if you really would like to learn more about that, or that he has the valuable contacts that could also help you. So yeah, we try to tackle those topics from various angles. So either we would have the office hours or the mentors or other partners in the network, and we're always happy to help you out on those topics. And I think this is also something that Sebastian mentioned earlier on, that we're always in the building. Just come by, stop by and talk to us, raise your concerns, raise your needs, and we will always try to help you out as much as we can.
Absolutely, that's right, and that's also part of our philosophy. That's really the pay it forward attitude here as well. Everybody helps everybody here. David Monks asks, I need to check the dates in your block week sessions, so can you send all of those specifically? David, the dates of the block weeks have been shared with you in the invitation email, and you can also find them in the program participation agreement, i.e. the small little contract that you signed a couple of weeks ago. So, but to make it, if you have pen and paper with you, I can make it quite easy for you to note these block weeks. The first block week is the 1st of October until the 10th of October. The second block week is the 12th of November until the 16th of November. The third one is the 10th of December until the 14th of December, and the fourth and last block week is happening from 14th of January to 18th of January. So hope that helps.
Yeah. We do have another question from Anna. Anna asks, when will we know more about the one-on-one sessions with the corporate partners? I think, Sebastian, this is something that we're currently working on. So a schedule that is basically being created right now, where we would look at the availabilities of the startup and of course of the corporate partners, and then as soon as we have a schedule for that, we would send you the schedule so you would know, okay, I'm meeting, let's say, for example, T-Mobile at 1 p.m.
Exactly. So for now, please, even though it might be a bit inconvenient, just block your whole day for that. The whole day of the 8th of October, Monday the 8th of October is the corporate touchpoint day, and you will be receiving the time slots the minute we have confirmed them, and all further information there, of course. Okay, at the moment there are no additional questions coming. We've already lost a few viewers there, but we'll hang around for a couple more minutes here, and then we shortly bring this session to a close. Important information to all of you as well. As I said, or as we said earlier in the webinar, every startup will be assigned a dedicated program manager, which will be their single point of contact within weXelerate and within the team, and that is happening very, very soon. So in the next couple of days, you will receive a personal email and personal contact request by your dedicated program manager that will take care of you for the rest of the program. So you will have basically a key account manager to come to with anything, and yeah, this is also someone that you can ask these things in the future, and that you can email any questions that you have, of course. Even though you should use Slack, you really, really should start using Slack. We need to train you in that direction. Okay, David and Davide, thank you too. Looking forward to see you soon in Vienna as well. Really excited already. So we keep this session open for a little bit longer in case somebody wants to ask a question either on Eyes On or the live chat on YouTube, feel free. Or if you're a bit shy, you can always send us a private message on the Batch 3 Slack channel. You can even send us an email or a post pigeon, a mail pigeon, or whatever that is called. I don't know how that is called, actually. Oh, so Victor, do you have any babbling to do still, like I'm doing here?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Excellent.
I think we'll wait for one more minute and then we'll turn off. I think it was a pleasure for us to entertain you with our webinar session. It's always very exciting to have these webinars because you can share the information with your startups, and believe me, I think we are at least as excited as you are to start this new batch. And yeah, I think this is enough of the babbling for now. Again, shoot out an email to us if you have any other questions. Otherwise, you can expect that you can hear from us within the next few days again.
Absolutely. So since everybody is saying goodbye already in the chat and also on Eyes On, there are no more questions and not any open points. I'd say we'd call it a day. As usual, you get sent the presentation that we used here, and you also should be able to watch the recording a little bit later.
Okay. So have a good evening from Vienna.
Yeah, thanks to all of you from Victor and Sebastian here. We're really, really looking forward to seeing you, and get in touch with us if you need anything.
Bye-bye.
Bye, see you.